Right now, something is happening in graphic design, and most people aren't really talking about it properly. AI is quietly splitting the industry into two parts. Well, actually three, but more about that later. Importantly, however, depending on how you're working right now, you're already falling into one side of that two-split divide. And instead of just talking about it, let me show you what I mean. So take a look at this design here on screen. Now, a few years ago, this would have been considered a decent piece of work, and it kind of still is, of course. But today, this level of work is almost everywhere. AI can generate it, templates can produce it, and even bigger designers can get pretty close to it very quickly. But here's where things start to change, because despite what some designers say or think, there is still a huge and larger market for human designers who understand the deeper mindset and levels of graphic design. On one side, you've got what I call the saturated layer. It's fast, clean, usable design driven by speed and output. Now this is where AI generated work sits, and even what you might call AI slop. But on the other side, you have the strategic layer. That's where design is built on research, intent, and psychology, and backed by real skill and experience. Like here, for example, a lovely mix of bold flat graphics and hand-drawn mixed media designs. It's so easy to see the intent and the human-based thought behind this work. But a lot of people say AI is lowering standards, but that's only half true. Imagine if a brand like, say, Adidas was running a new rebrand campaign. They likely have an in-house design team that would take care of it. But if they didn't, instead they would hire a design agency. And that design agency isn't going to just jump into Nana Banana and just start churning out prompted logo designs. And that is because the money, the seriousness, everything involved with such an outcome needs to be in the hands of a skilled and experienced set of humans. And that's the part AI doesn't really touch. It doesn't choose nuances that should appeal to a specific target audience or what should make someone pause on a design. That part still comes from human decision making first and foremost. Now here is a truth that many designers cannot swallow and furthermore completely misunderstand. AI is here to stay in the world of graphic design. It's not going anywhere. The cat is out of the bag, so to speak. But it's not as doom and gloom as many actually think. Even when you consider that a few years ago, this is what an AI logo maker could create. And today, simply using ChatGPT can make something like this. Granted, it's not that great, and I gave some silly little prompts, but things are evolving fast with even like the most basic tools. So why is this not really a problem to us graphic designers? Well, because AI doesn't replace great design thinking. What AI is actually doing is compressing the bottom of the market. It's the part that is becoming faster, cheaper, and a lot more saturated. But the higher layers, the strategic layers, they are going to be somewhat untouched. And that's the separation that's happening right now. Design is splitting into two paths. One where speed wins and one where thinking actually wins. And here is where you need to ask yourself a serious question. If your entire value is based on supplying lower tier clients with quick and basic graphics, then yes, sooner or later AI will become a threat to you. But if your value is based on solving problems, shaping perception, marketing yourself in this industry, and making deliberate decisions, then AI becomes a tool, not a competition. And let me explain. In the near future, AI is going to be something almost every designer uses by default, from freelancers to agencies to high-level studios. And so the difference isn't actually going to be if you use AI, it's going to be how you use it. And don't get confused or don't worry if that sounds a bit crazy or a bit doom and gloom, so to speak. Because this is how things are going to be. At the lower end of the market, a large portion of designers will simply be removed, gone. And this is purely because small businesses and low budget clients will just generate what they need for themselves. Quick logos, social media posts, basic branding, all handled instantly. That layer becomes fully self-service, basically. But in the middle, it will be a bit of a different story. Companies are still going to need designers or perhaps an art director, but the role sort of changes a little bit. It would be someone who guides the output, makes decisions, refines results, and ensures consistency. They will control AI and do a large portion of this with AI production, but the designer controls the direction, first and foremost. But then at the very top levels, the dynamic is going to be a bit different. High-level designers and studios will use AI, but not like a crutch or something to do most of the work. Instead, it will be utilized for research, ideation, rapid exploration, and just efficiency and mock-up creation, things like this. The thinking, the strategy, the intent, that is going to remain human. So what should you actually do with all of this knowledge? Well, firstly, start understanding why designs work. Spend more time studying positioning, audience behavior, and decision making, not just tools and techniques. Use AI yourself, but use it to speed up the surface level work so you can go deeper when it actually matters. Break down real-world brands, question design choices, and practice thinking through problems before jumping into execution. Because the designers who stay valuable moving forward will be the ones who understand what they're actually doing and why. Now, to demonstrate how problem sprints work, check out this logo here. Now, I'm sure only a handful of people know what this logo is, or shall I say, was. So this logo was actually the design for Uber pre-2018. And if we look at this logo, what problems can we identify on the design itself? Firstly, it looks more like an app icon and it's not very iconic. And yeah, the irony in that wording. But it has a lot of detail and it would become kind of lost at smaller scales. It also looks a bit generic and a bit outdated, to be honest. Uber really wanted to become an identified brand away from just an app. And so we have those problems, and to create design ideas and concepts, we just try and fix those problems. In Uber's case, they removed color and stripped things back to black and white for simplicity, modernity, and sleekness. They also removed all of the chaotic detail and opted for a typographic logo, again for simplicity and brand recognition. So for this first approach, simply identify problems and then create fixes for those problems. And that will reveal concepts and ideas for your project. Now, you might be wondering, how do I design with that kind of intention behind it? What does it even mean to have purpose in every single element? Well, that curiosity is exactly what's going to push you forward as a designer. Start asking questions like, why this color? What does this symbolize? Why use this shape? How does it direct the eye or support the brand's message? Why should I use this typeface? Does it feel bold, delicate, traditional, or modern? Asking all these questions will help you further in your projects. And take color, for example. If you're designing a brand identity for a children's toy company, you wouldn't use muted grays or blacks. You'd lean towards bright, playful hues because those colors evoke energy, excitement, and fun. They speak to the audience, and that's why intentional design is all about communication. Every decision you make in the design process should be geared towards a purpose. And once you start designing with intention, everything just becomes clearer. You'll feel more confident in your choices, and your designs will start to resonate more deeply with your audiences. And don't get it twisted, you're not designing for your client, you are designing for your client's audience. And so remember, it's not just about making things look pretty, it's about making them matter. When you design with purpose, every element becomes a piece of the puzzle, working together to deliver the right message. And if you want to continue your education as a graphic designer today, just click one of those videos on screen. But until next time guys, design your future today. Peace.